All right, everybody. It is just short of 10:30 here on this Monday evening. Just wanted to provide a quick update as the newest tropical storm is nearing landfall tonight. Of course, we're talking about Tropical Storm Nicholas now approaching the Texas Gulf Coast, and it looks like it's going to make landfall pretty close to Galveston Bay. Models veered quite a bit to the east since we last spoke last night. And it does look like the impacts will be highest out towards the Galveston Bay area. So detailing the landfall of the storm, which by the way is nearing hurricane strength. So it's a strong tropical storm. It could become a hurricane before making landfall here over the next hour or two. So we'll have live pictures coming up for you here in just a couple of moments from both Galveston Bay, but also, of course, with radar imagery as well. I'll allow a couple of moments to go by as people filter into the room. Thank you for being here, as always, on our program. We always appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and get you started. Take a look at a little bit of radar imagery here as we start off the program. And we'll start you with this is our Gibson Ridge product, GR2 Analyst radar. This is level 2 data. And we'll take a broader picture first. This is coming out of Houston, Texas, the radar. You can see it's already past Corpus Christi, Texas. It's now past Victoria, Texas, the center of circulation, located right now about 40 miles to the southwest. Let me get the actual coordinates here of Galveston Bay. Storm not moving terribly fast. It's only moving off to the northeast at about 12 miles per hour. So it is picking up a little bit more steam. It wasn't like it was yesterday, just crawling. So it is picking up a little bit of steam here. And we'll get the latest coordinates during this broadcast update. Let's see who we have in the program, and then we'll dive on in. We'll have a live picture coming up here in just a couple of moments. Right now we've got a few people, and thank you for being on. Keep the likes and shares coming. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. All right, let's take a look at our 4-panel plot, kind of give you a broader perspective here. We do have a live picture on this. So that's a live picture via YouTube. Galveston Bay is what you're looking at right now. And I'm going to dismiss this offer. Will it let me? Nope, you can only claim. You can't dismiss it. Obviously some wind and rain. There is some storm surge flooding that has been reported very well further down the Texas coast towards Corpus Christi and Victoria. But right now, looking at the action here in Galveston, which impacts will likely be highest near the Galveston area. With that, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other imagery we have here for you. So I'm going to bring up our other radar unit while we're talking, and we'll come back to that image there. Right now, the center of circulation, you can see where it's wrapping here. So if there's an eye development, it'd be right there, but this is going to make a beeline right towards Galveston Bay. And that should bring in some modest storm surge. We'll go over the numbers here in just a couple of moments. Let's go on over to our other radar imager here, and should be able to take a look at the infrared. With approximate position, you can see it's going to be moving towards Houston, which means that the right side of the storm, you know, keep in mind we've got that counterclockwise circulation, so right side of the storm, that's Galveston Bay, so it's going to scoop up some water. That'll likely lead to a little bit of storm surge flooding, not over the top. And we still think that the flooding rains will still be the biggest part of the problem here. Flash flooding, and flooding from somewhere in the order of 8 to 12 inches of rain possible for portions of southeast Texas. I've got the Hurricane Center's forecast line, which will take it from where it is now, nearing landfall. It's close, it's not quite yet. And it's going to take it near Houston, and north of Beaumont and into central portions of Louisiana. All these areas are going to see some pretty healthy rain, and in some cases could be enough to cause some flooding as well. So there you have it. Let's take a look at some imagery here. What do we have for you here? Okay, so there's the actual wharf model showing you where it's at. Goes right over Galveston, Houston, and then begins to take it towards the Louisiana coast. Okay, there you go. Brings it on shore is about a 995 millibar. Right now, Hurricane Center is reporting Nicholas is, and I'll let you look at this with me. Going on over to the Hurricane Center, it's showing 988 millibars, so it's actually lower than what the forecast model is showing. 70 mile per hour winds, hurricane force 74, very close to that number. There you go. Okay, so there's the official forecast track by the Hurricane Center. It's going to keep it as a tropical storm, but it'll be close. It could go either way. And then you can see where it heads to. Let's talk about rainfall, and then we'll get into storm surge as well. Rainfall is going to be extensive. There you go. So the areas there in the orange, that's 6 to 10. 6 to 10, I think locally we're talking about 8 to 12. East of Houston, towards the Louisiana border. Plenty of rain with this. Way too much rain with this, as you can imagine. Here is potential of flooding. Flash flood risk is going to be there. It's pretty significant. So day one on the left, and then it shows Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, kind of migrates towards southern Louisiana, because this the center of circulation, once it begins to move inland, it's not going to move fast, and it's going to kind of get hung up. So folks in Louisiana, heads up, depending on exact placement, thunderstorm banding, you could have some pockets of some pretty substantial flash flooding over the next couple of days. But for tonight, primarily tonight, it's going to be from near Victoria through Galveston Bay to near Beaumont, and that's a 50% chance of flash flooding within any 25 miles of any point on that map is what you're looking at. So as far as storm surge potential is concerned, let's see if I can bring up the map on that. And storm surge, again, this is not a huge hurricane by any stretch of the imagination, but again, it's going to be enough to cause some issues. And rainfall is the name of the game. Rainfall, when it comes to a storm like this, you think back to, I mean, we're not talking like a Harvey, which was a Cat 4 and then just sit and it rained and rained and rained over the Houston area to the tune of like 40 or 50 inches. Crazy. That was it 2017, I think that was? No, we're not talking about anything like that. But we are talking about the potential is there for some small-scale flooding, potential storm surge, a few feet. We've already seen where it's lapped over some of those outer banks. And I would say that it would be right here in the Galveston Bay area, these outer banks that would be highest. And you can see they're showing in the yellow there where it could be, greater than 3 feet. So it's not going to be the storm of the century, but it's enough to keep an eye on. All right, let's go back over to radar. We'll take another live look and see if there's any questions on this live feed. And thank you for being here. There's Robin Kuhlman. Thanks for keeping us updated. Thank you, Robin, for being here. Look forward to catching up with you, by the way, here in just a few weeks. Hopefully the family doing well. So there she is. Nicholas, right? Nicholas, okay? Gender specific with these tropical storms. And you can see the brighter cloud tops. I should say the brighter. It's really the reds and the blacks, and now more recently the whites, which are very close to the center of the storm. And that is signaling some strengthening that is occurring as the storm, again, making headway towards the coast. Very close to landfall, not quite yet, but it's not going to take it too long. So I do expect a landfalling storm here rather shortly. And I'll take a look at another look at that satellite here. It's a little different perspective, a little broader. Last 6 hours, and you can kind of see the bubbling up effect that we get with these intense tropical storms. It's basically taking the heat that is built into the Gulf of Mexico right now, which is sitting at like 85 to 88 degree water temperatures, about as warm as it's, you know, as you will see, and takes that energy and it rises as convection, and you're seeing it bubbling up in the form of those thunderstorms, and that's what you're seeing in the blacks and then the grays. Those are those thunderstorm tops. And when they get closer to the center, that allows the pressure to drop near the center, which means that it increases in intensity. And then circulation increases, so pressure drops, circulation increases, wind velocity increases. And yeah, so close. Not quite to hurricane strength at this point, but it'll be close. All right, so let's take a look at the radar. And here we go. There you go. El Campo. I think I've driven through there. El Campo, Texas. It's going to move just to the east of El Campo, arriving near Bay City, maybe. And then there's Galveston Bay, and that's where, again, the concern is for some minor storm surge flooding, not the storm of the century by any stretch of the imagination. Let's take one final look at the actual track, and then we'll take a look at the rest of the tropics, see if there's anything else brewing. Here you go. So actual from the wharf, taking it very well. This shows it a little further east, or a little further west than what it actually is. But it's going to move right over Galveston Bay before moving into portions of Louisiana. Some very substantial rainfall expected with that when that occurs. Pull up this map over here, give you a better view. All right, let's take a look at this again. A little better view here. Okay, so this is the updated. Came in at, this is 18Z, so you can see it rolls it. Yeah, it's still bringing it onshore too far west. Even this model, I don't think it's quite got it. It should be further east into the Galveston Bay, but overall, you'll see this is tomorrow morning. It's inland, and then it very gradually makes its way towards the Louisiana border. It may not get into Louisiana until sometime on Wednesday. On Wednesday is what it's showing. Let's take a look at the HMON. It's just another hurricane model. This one also updated 18Z. This one's closer. There's a bit of a jog. Notice, okay, there it is. Yeah, it's still trying to bring it too far west, I think, before it does move into Louisiana. Not enough rain with that one. Let me give you a static shot. Okay, so this will be a little larger picture for you, kind of showing you the movement here. So the little tropical system, again, capable of tremendous rainfall, minor storm surge flooding, and the winds, while they'll be there, they're just not going to be all that tremendous. Here's a look at Galveston Bay right now, courtesy ABC 13 on YouTube, and you can see it's we've got that eye feature, and it's not quite an eye. There's not an eye. Let me take that back. But the center of circulation, it's getting closer. So you're probably an hour away from Galveston getting into that eye wall, and then we'll watch those winds pick up a little bit more. All right, with that being said, not the storm of the century, but I did want to take a look at the what's happening elsewhere across the tropics. So let's broaden our view a little bit. Take you back over to radar. Again, live picture courtesy ABC 13 out of Galveston, Houston, Texas area, that is. So there's a look at broader picture, which we can't go all the way through the Atlantic at this point, but I can show you on different satellite imagery what's happening in the rest of the tropical Atlantic. Okay, let's go back to this. And okay, so what we've got in the tropics right now, and this is basically peak of tropical storm season for the Atlantic, the second, third week in September typically. So active tropical system with Nicholas, and then you look further west, there's not a lot, but there's a pretty robust tropical wave right now coming off of Africa. Let me move that into frame so you can see that a little bit better. And let's see, I need to adjust my framing. Give me a sec. You can kind of see it over there on the right hand side. So that one is it's got a pretty decent chance of developing just now, coming off, as mentioned, the African coast. It's Cape Verde season for those that follow tropics, and that's the islands where it's at. So they've upgraded that now, by the way. It was only, I think, a 20 or 30% chance earlier today. Now they're showing a 40% chance of tropical cyclone formation. Tropical wave located over far eastern tropical Atlantic is producing an area of disorganized cloudiness, and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions are forecasted to be conducive for gradual development of this disturbance over the next several days, and a tropical depression is likely to form by later this week while the system moves westward. It'll likely be given a name, in my opinion. They're saying 40% chance in the next 48 hours. That'll probably develop. The other one is, it's very weak, but there's a little cluster of kind of disorganization to the east of the Bahamas right now. Small wave. They're only giving it a 10% chance. I don't think this one's gonna make it. The one over Africa, we'll watch. I think that one has a better chance of getting organized, so we'll need to watch that. Otherwise, we'll continue to watch what's happening here with Tropical Storm Nicholas. We do have an update coming from the National Weather Service. We'll make that the Hurricane Center here in a couple of moments. Center of circulation. Let me fix that. Right there. And you can see the proximity here to Galveston Bay. They just issued a new flash flood warning. So you got flash flood warnings that go from almost Victoria all the way to Galveston now. A lot of rain. Hey, that's what happens when a tropical system makes landfall. You get a lot of rain. So with that, final check on comments. We'll wrap this one up. Thank you very much for being here as always. If you don't mind, a quick like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that. As always, it's appreciated. All right. Well, guys, thank you for being on during this program. There's a final look out of ABC 13 out of Houston, Galveston Bay. It would be an eye wall if they had a fully formed eye, but the center of circulation should be crossing into the Galveston area here next 1 to 2 hours. And again, they're going to get pummeled, absolutely pummeled with rain. And winds could be nearing hurricane force. So not the storm of the century, but it has been a pretty active tropical season so far, and we'll continue to monitor the situation. 2 other systems of interest across the Atlantic, particularly the one coming off the African coast. We'll watch that closely here over the next couple of days. Otherwise, thank you very much for being on, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.